gang.
All right, y'all. That's what happens when you're not technologically savvy. That was my fault, y'all. But let me wrap up this story real quick. So the head of sales at a previous role that I had, he basically colluded with competitors and sent them some business while taking over some of the ownership of the competing company. So he's working for one company while having ownership in a direct competitor. Huge conflict of interest. Long story short, his punishment was he was let go. He got to keep all of his stock. He cashed him out the next day, walked away with like $9 million. And that is executive justice. It just works differently.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is how a lot of people see there's an issue, there's a problem here, but people do not go the next level and like want to like push for change because we see a lot of like politicians doing the same thing. And people are like, well, as long as we get them removed, then that's justice. I'm like, that's not justice. Like it's the weirdest thing because we know this happens a lot, especially where you have this astronomer CEO. Clearly, he was with somebody else's wife, and the woman, she's with somebody else's husband, and we haven't heard too much from the husband that was being cheated on. We haven't heard from much from his camp yet. So it makes me kind of wonder if they, I mean, I'm not saying they did, but it does sound like they may have had like maybe a different type of relationship, an open relationship though. But I still, it's still kind of weird to me. Like, why hasn't, I mean, I'm not saying he needs to crash out though, but usually you see some type of reaction. And but these people, they carried it. I mean, being embarrassed on the national stage, they carried it very nicely. So I mean, I would never want to be in their situation. The people that were cheated on, I'd never want to be in their situation though. But they're keeping it quiet though. So maybe that's advice from their attorneys too.
Yeah, here's the other part about this. Y'all internet people are savage as hell. So Andy Byron, they went and looked up his wife, and essentially just blasted
It's
her
family.
pages with messages, just interfering with family stuff, right? She's obviously dealing with some stuff. I did a quick search of her name. I don't want to share her name because she's been a lot of people have been trying to hit her up. But the very first IG account that popped up under her name, it says, "I am not the CEO's wife. Y'all harassing the wrong person." So that
Yeah,
tells me that a bunch of people with nothing better to do are jumping in somebody else's marriage. Let her figure out how she wants to move with that. Leave that lady alone. She got enough to deal with. Here's another thing, TR.
hmm
We heterosexual men up in this piece. It seems like your boy kind of downgraded a little bit, didn't he?
man. I'll tell you this much though. For look, if I just feel, I mean, they're both wrong. Okay, but if you're gonna like look, if you feel like stepping out in your marriage, I feel I shouldn't say I feel. I was thinking it was going to be a bad chick, and he just got this, pass through soggy Karen, and I'm like, and you would mess with the cop in the building, like of all the people you could have messed with, you got the cop, and you thought this was like all you got the clearance. This is the way to go. That's just wild to me though, because we've seen people in this situation though, and it's like okay, I see why I can understand why they went the route that they went. But this guy, man, this was silly. He should got with the friend. She was better looking than her,
Yeah, and I
respectfully.
I acknowledge that I'm just looking at this from a physical standpoint. Here's the thing that people don't talk about when it comes to cheating. Clearly, it's wrong, right?
Mhm.
But there's generally an underlying root cause that's driving it. Now, maybe it's something on his side. Maybe it's something on her side. We don't know. Maybe she's providing something that he ain't getting at home.
Man,
Now,
look,
if that's the case, and I know you like to group me with the marriage bros. If you're not speaking up at home, if you're not getting something, you ain't speaking up.
MC,
That's kind of your fault.
look, MC, I get what you're saying. I understand that to an extent. The cop, the HR chick, she don't look like she be like doing the Guck 3000. Like she doesn't look like she be doing that. She doesn't look like she doing all the tricks. She doing all the splits. She just doesn't look. And look, I've known some women that, looks say one thing, bedroom says another thing. I'm just saying he should got with a friend, respectfully.
And I'm just saying that third person in that picture also works in human resources. So now
Oh
you got to
yeah,
look at your whole entire HR staff and figure out who's ethical and who's not because they're
Look,
supposed to be the ethics of the company.
you know what? Matter of fact, I'm glad you pointed this out though, because this is the other thing too. Men, we already know that. I mean, most of the time, your significant other, and this can go either way too. But we're just going to focus on what, from the men's perspective to the women. If your wife is working at another working at some other company that you're not, working with her, and everybody's like, I don't want to work with my wife, blah blah blah. Fine, I get it. Everyone does this. It's the American way. This is the thing. Your wife is constantly getting D opportunities from other men. And she might not do it the first month, first year, second year, third year. But hey, I have been on enough company parties to see some inhibitions adjust a little bit once that alcohol start flowing. So I've seen some people do some wild things. I haven't been part of it though, but I'm like, I saw something happen, and those are things you have to take to the grave. But again, it's like, wow, this is. I mean, look, I can never trust my girl working in a corporate environment. I'm just going to tell you that right now. If there's alcohol and men around, it only takes one drink for your chick to be like, "Hey, we're going to do something different today," and they be married. And most of the time they're married. Actually, most of the time they are married, and the women know that they're married. That's the crazy thing. They know that they're married. So this isn't the shit on men or women. It's just, look, you work in the corporate world, those are some of the things that will happen. Not if, they will.
Actually, glad you said that, TR. I just posted this. I like to look at studies and stats. What percentage of men and women do you think have work spouses?
Oh, they are. It's got to be a high percentage, maybe like over 90.
So in the UK, it's up to 70%. In the United States, it's 50 to 60%.
Oh, that number's that. How old
That's
is that
that's
study?
according that's according to Fortune.
Yeah,
That's October 2024 is when they posted this article.
yeah,
So again, these people go to work, they form these tight bonds and these relationships with folks, and you got to be wary if they got a work spouse. It happens more
yeah,
often than we would like to admit.
yeah. It's unfortunate though, because a lot of people don't realize. Well, sorry, hold on. There we go. I forgot to put the banner up there. But a lot of people don't realize that your significant other is probably going to be some form of cheating, and those work spouses, those work husbands, and then they do those what are those secret Santa things? Like any type of
Oh yeah.
interaction, those are the things that are going to get you. That gets a lot of couples in trouble, though. So people got to start realizing you can't be interacting with your colleagues, especially happy hours. Like that's where people really start letting things fly. So unfortunately, I mean, I understand people. You got to work. So most people work in some type of We work in corporate environments, though, but still, you got to be a little more, aware of like who's like, hey, why are you friends with your colleagues on social media? Like, let me check those DMs.
Yeah, most people don't even rock with their coworkers on their social medias like that.
That's a
And
good point.
it's
Yeah,
always been odd to me when you mix work and personal. But you go to these happy hours, you're out drinking, you got these work trips. You
yeah,
just, you never, I cannot tell you, TR, how many times I've seen people sneaking out of rooms that they didn't need to be in. It
yep,
happens a lot. It is hilarious. Now,
yep.
a lot of y'all probably thinking, all right, you know all this stuff, what you out here doing. My coworkers will tell you, I go get a drink, I go to my room, I go to sleep. Because I am not trying to put myself in a situation I don't need to be in. And I know
Facts.
a lot of people that operate like that. Unfortunately, it ain't everybody.
Yeah, I'll tell you this
I don't
much
even talk
though.
about my personal life. A lot of my coworkers will tell me they don't know anything about me.
Yeah, keep it like that. I tell you, one last
Yeah.
thing with this is, so we both know the lead attorney, and well, we know him from his YouTube channel though. He's told many stories where he's went to, and you just go to his channel, and he's had these conversations. So I'm not like just saying things, but he said, hey, look, if your chick is coming to those lawyer conferences, there's a good chance she's getting throttled. Like they come there, it's just like yeah, I mean, don't we when you ask your chick if she's been to those conferences, and well, she probably won't tell you the truth though, but they said they slamming them. So just food for thought there.
Here's the other thing. We're not talking about how goofy this is. Who takes a side chick to a concert in the public with
That's
hundreds
true.
of thousands of people? Who does that?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Goofy
just
stuff.
that's just terrible. There's a lot of things wrong with it though, but he resigned, so it's like you fumbled the bag. I'd be curious if he gets another job down the road. Actually, I know he's gonna get another job.
Oh yeah.
Look, you can't. I mean, you don't care about his personal life. Can you get the company to the next level? That's what they
That's
care
it.
about. So,
Are you gonna get these results and are you gonna not bring any drama to work? That's all it comes down to. She resigned too, by the way. And she will
oh, she
also
didn't.
make her
Okay,
repeat. Yeah.
yeah. Well, good. She should resign. So, all right. We're gonna jump to. Um, I guess we can talk about the W some WNBA conversation.
Oh yeah,
MC,
that always goes great. Let's do it.
yeah. So the WNBA has been trending for a lot of things recently, and we're gonna look at two clips, one from the ESPYS, and then also one related to the WNBA wants to get paid more.
Yeah, let's do it. And I just want to call out again. The Black Phoenix podcast talks about the WNBA a lot, more so than these other ones do. So yeah, give us our credit. We out here doing the damn thing.
You know, it's funny though. Even though we do talk about it a lot, there's still a bunch of other channels out there that talk about it more. So we gotta start moving a little bit differently. So, anyways, we're gonna look at a clip from the ESPYS, which I've been I've been aware of this guy. I just didn't know that was his name. So, Mr. Shane Gillis. All right.
Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. That's crazy. You clap for that.
Which is absolutely true. A lot of these people sitting in that audience, they don't know anything. I mean, she probably knew about it as soon as he mentioned it though. But a lot of these people that pretend to be these freedom champions for the WNBA, they don't know Angel Reese's jersey number. They don't know Asia Wilson's jersey number. They barely know what team she plays for. They could probably recognize her. She did change her hairstyle this year, but they can probably pick her out more than anybody. And I think she does have one of the better shoes that's recently been released, in my opinion. I was trying to get a pair for my daughter, but they have like these all pink that just been sold out. But they have some other variations. But he brought up a good point. They all got exposed, and it's surprising that that joke didn't go as far or didn't trend as long as it should have. But before we, jump to the pay, thoughts, MC?
Those pink Asian Wilsons, they gonna be sold out for a long time because our sorority sisters is buying all those up. That's number one.
I didn't know she was sorority either, so that's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah, she's in the sorority.
Mhm.
Number two, the reason why this joke was so relevant, that was ESPN, that was the ESPYs, that was
Yeah,
Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. These are the people that are shoving the WNBA in your face and guilt tripping you for not watching, for not supporting, for not caring about the women's game. These niggas don't even know. They fell for a joke that made them all look stupid and expose them as being hypocrites.
yeah,
So basically, you're shaming the public for supporting a sport that you don't even watch.
yeah,
He just said he picked a black chick intentionally, and he used it to make a perfect freaking joke. And if you are not familiar with Shane Gillis, he does stuff like this all the time. He has a show called Times, by the way. I believe it's on Netflix. Check it out. It's hilarious. But Shane Gillis has always been like that. He's always hit you with those jokes that point out people's sensitivities and being hypocrites. So this is nothing new for him.
yeah. Speaking of some hypocrisy and sensitivities, so this story was trending about a week ago, And just kind of give you just read it real quick. The WA All Stars took to court in a warm up shirts and that read, "Pay us what you owe us." So this was during their All Star game, which a lot of people probably didn't know they were even playing their All Star game, but whatever. Meanwhile, the league lost an estimated 50 million in 2024 alone and has never reported a profit since its founding in 1997, which is wild to believe that they've been around since 97. What exactly do they believe they're owed? They don't. You don't get rewarded for losing money year after year. They're entitled to nothing. So I agree. Like the way this looks on the surface, it looks like they're asking for some money that they're not bringing in. And I'll tell you this though, and I wish I could find the clip. If I find the clip, I'll play it. Jamel Hill made a very compelling argument about this though. So I'm trying to work on being balanced, guys. So bear with me. So Jamel Hill had this conversation with somebody that said, if the WNBA isn't making money, then how did the Valkyries, Seattle Valkyries, I think that's her name, the one that they just added to the league, the Seattle Valkyries, I think no, Golden State Valkyries. There we go. Got it. There we go. So the Golden State Valkyries was just added to the league, and they've had a valuation of over $500 million. And so her point was, you have the Valkyries valued at $500 million. They were just added a year ago. And then you have 3 or 4 more teams getting added later in the next 3 to 4 years. And so this implies that the league is growing. They're trying to get their money. I mean, essentially, the women, the WNBA players, are trying to get their money now. And on some extent, I can understand that. But there's a little more to this. But before I go, MC, thoughts onto what I just said, or at least on what they owe.
If what Jamel Hill is saying is true, then that means the WNBA has an issue with their books. I can understand her argument because team evaluations it's a very arbitrary thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a different way of calculating evaluation. Here's my thing with the WNBA. We talked about how they don't make any money. I mean, and they're being subsidized by the NBA.
Right.
Those two things we know for sure based on what's being reported. But I also looked into this and I posted this article to TR. On average, well, let me start with this. Whoever negotiated the WNBA players' revenue split needs to be fired immediately, and they should never negotiate for any type of union ever again.
Wait,
So,
I'm sorry, before you start cooking, I just want to show this real quick where the Golden State Valkyries is valued at 500 million, like I said earlier. And then you got the Liberty, you got the Fever, which the Fever, I wonder what they were before Caitlin, Clark got there though. But you can kind of see where things seem to be trending, and Liberty just won the championship too, though.
yeah. So in the WNBA, players receive a portion of the revenue, but it's a fixed percentage that doesn't kick in until they hit a certain metric.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the NBA, no matter what, they take their cut. So that's a terribly negotiated contract. So I posted a Market Watch article based on what I just said about the WNBA. On average, the players' revenue split TR is 9.3%. Who negotiated this agreement? Who negotiated this contract? That is terrible, terrible, terrible negotiations.
Yeah.
So going back to what Jamel Hill said again,
Well, hold on. Is it
yeah,
really bad negotiation, or is that all the leverage that they had though? Because you get what you negotiate. So if they didn't have, I mean, we got to be fair though. No one was really paying attention to the WNBA like this until CC got there. I know there were some top players, but no one was really like, hey, let's start watching the WNBA before they get there. And I just don't. I mean, yeah, it's a bad contract though, but it's like I don't think they had any leverage. I don't think they could do anything because that TV contract didn't show up until CC showed up.
okay, that's fine. But do you ever see yourself in a situation where you would take a 9.3% revenue split with anybody? That
Oh no,
basically
no.
screams, I take whatever you will give me.
Yeah,
So you didn't have any faith that the game was going to grow. You didn't have any faith that you would eventually bring in better talent and the
I
game
don't think they
itself
did.
evolve and become better.
I don't think they
Who's
did.
so whose fault is that? Why are they shaming the public then? If that's the case, why?
Well, this is something related to a lot of what I hate to say it, but the women, when it comes to accountability, they have see, this is a problem with the WNBA. This is what they should do. They should come out here and say, look, unfortunately, we took a bad deal. We want to change the terms of the deal. That's what they should say. The people who set this deal up before us, they made a bad deal. None of them have even come out and said anything like that. So they're trying to stay on code with each other. And with the 9%, yeah, that definitely was a bad deal. They didn't foresee them growing the game. And it's really not the players that just got into the league. It's just the people that were in the league during this deal. So I don't know who was the union rep, but I'm pretty sure they're not the union rep anymore.
And again, I am a watcher of the WNBA. I attend games. I'm here in Phoenix. I watch the Mercury. I watch the Sky. All of that, right? But again, y'all want the same benefits as a man without the same accountabilities. That's always been my problem. I want the game to get better. I want y'all to get paid. But at what point do you say, I messed up? You just heard me say it. We had technical difficulties earlier because I messed up.
Mm-hmm.
If I could do that on something like this, what's stopping y'all from saying, okay, we negotiated a bad deal. It's time to run it back. The game is improving and getting better. More and more people are watching and attending. Let's run it back and renegotiate. Just say that.
Yeah.
Then I could at least, on good faith, say that you're a trustworthy source to listen to. But right now, all we get is this victim stuff, and it's tiring to a lot of people.
Yeah. And also, the other crazy thing too, when it comes to like having this conversation about the WNBA, because initially I sent you this text related to the Jamel Hill conversation. And on the surface, I was actually there with Jamel Hill. I'm like, damn, Jamel Hill. And hey, I'll call it down the middle. If Jamel Hill is right, she's right. She's been wrong mainly, but this one appeared that she was right. But then I got to thinking, I'm like, there's still something off about this though. So remember that graph I just pulled up? All
Yeah.
right, the Golden State Valkyries at $500 million. So their entry fee was like $50 million. So and I was like, well, what was the entry fee before that? Because that seems kind of low for a lot of teams. So the entry fee for the Atlanta Dream, I believe was like 10 million or something like that. It was under 10 million, so it wasn't that high. And so you go from 10 million to 50 million. I'm like, okay, well, that's not that big of a jump though, because the Dream got here in 2008. The Valkyries got here in 2023, and they just had their first season. So I can understand why, okay, there might have been a price increase, but these next couple of teams, their entry fees are over 100 million though. And I think one is maybe 200 million. So I say all that to explain there's something off about all of this though. Honestly, what I think it is, the Golden Valkyries, I think they're trying to hype it up though, because it's fool's gold. Because the Golden State Valkyries, they're located in Golden State though. And I looked at some of the extra events that they do. Do you want to? I mean, do you want to guess who they cater to the most for the Golden State Valkyries?
I mean, they're what in San Francisco, so I'm gonna assume the LGBT folks.
Yeah, they cater to a lot of liberals. They cater to a lot of LGBT, and I'm cool with that. Like, hey, get your money how you want to get it, though. But some of these other teams, like Philadelphia, I think Cleveland, and then I forget the third team, Detroit. Like, these aren't. I mean, Philadelphia might be super liberal, but they ain't got a strong base that'll show up to a lot of these events to these teams. So they're evaluating the Golden State Valkyries' success, like they can duplicate it in different cities. And I don't think that's the case, though. I think, like I said, it sounds like it's what do you call it? The NFTs. Do you remember the NFTs that were like popular for like 2 years till everyone figured out it was a scam?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing with these Golden State Valkyries
Damn, don't tell me
because
that TR owns some NFT.
yeah, you got scammed, my guy. So when you look at the Golden State Valkyries, can you name one player on the Golden State Valkyries? I mean, it's hard to name a player in general, but do you even remember seeing the Golden State Valkyries trending for anything other than this valuation? Because
No.
I couldn't tell. I had to go look up their roster. I'm like, well, they must be leading in the division. Nope. They're at the bottom. They might not even make the playoffs this year. So I'm like, well, why has everyone been raving about this? And pretty much they've been having a sellout crowd. I'm like, okay, well that's fine. They actually do have a pretty big stadium comparable to the Fever, so it's not like they're in a small like 5,000 stadium, 5,000 seat arena. But they have a good like over 15 18,000 seating. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was something like that. So what I'm saying to all this is that this is all smoke and mirrors. The people that are at the top, they're trying to make a quick buck, so they're trying to get paid early, but they know that this is not sustaining. So they're just trying to get in early, because the people that got in early, the Haktua people that got in there early, they're going to make all the money. After the dust clears, there ain't going to be no money to be made for these three expansion teams, 3 or 4 teams coming up. They're not going to make the same money as the Golden State Valkyries. The Golden State Valkyries are being propped up, and it's all by fool's gold. So that's the truth. That's why the WNBA players, as much as money they want to get paid, and if I were them, I would try and strike while the iron's hot as well too. The money really ain't there. The money ain't gonna be there long term. So I don't care what the expansion fees look like. That's that money. Those teams are not going to do good, and it's going to drag down it's going to bring down the product.
Real quick, I'm gonna just dive into in its simplest form. Here's how private valuations are typically determined. Financial performance. We've already talked about the WNBA's financial performance.
Yeah, terrible.
Industry and market conditions. There may be an argument there, TR.
Yeah.
Viewership is up. We can debate on what's driving viewership to go up, but that's a different conversation. Growth prospects / future potential. We just talked about we expected growth, so there should be future potential. Intellectual property, which is non-tangible usually, and customer base, which we've already identified as growing. So Jamel Hill may be onto something, but here's where the WNBA continues to get it wrong. They did not identify who their primary market was. They tried to market it, like as you stated, to the alphabet community. But we've already proven on previous episodes that the WNBA, at least last year, their biggest client base was fathers who were taking their daughters to the game.
Yeah, it's men.
And they were mostly black men. So you missed who your target audience was from the rip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, the other crazy thing is the majority of we wouldn't be having this conversation had it not been for Caitlin Clark. Like Angel Reese, look, I know a lot of people, Angel Reese can be divisive, and Angel Reese is definitely pulling in a little bit activity for her side, main so on the outside of basketball, oddly enough. But Caitlin Clark is what really generates and moves this league for the most part, though. That's where that TV contract was like, hey, we gotta push the brick up. So yeah, you got to give some respect to Caitlin Clark, though. But she's really the only one that you can make a case, and maybe there's some. I mean, like I said with Asia Wilson, though, there's a conversation we had there. But MC, have you seen Asia Wilson play?
Yeah, she's a monster. She's the truth. She's the best player in the league.
So you're right. She's the best player in her league, though. But there was something we might have to have a separate conversation about this, though, because something about Asia Wilson's game seems kind of off, though, because I was looking at her numbers. She gets a lot of attempts at the free throw, like more so than any other player. And what she reminds me of is James Harden, who gets to the free. Yep, she gets to the free throw line in a very weird way. Like they blow the whistle for Asia Wilson, but they don't blow the whistle. And when I'm going to talk about CC, I'm talking about any other player, because she just blows them night and day pause. But she just her numbers when it comes to getting to the free throw line is on another chart, though. That needs to be studied, though, but that's a conversation for another day. But for the most part, though, yeah, I think this is all fool's gold. I think I don't think the money is there, or the money that they think is there. Like they want to go from 9% to like 15%. Okay, we can have that conversation.
No,
but something tells
50 TR.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say something tells me they want something above 50, and it ain't 51. They want.
So yeah, real quick with Asia Wilson, I hear you, right? But we always talk about results. She's won 2 rings. So she's got the results. So
but most people don't know who Asia Wilson is. That's the crazy part.
I bring that up because Harden doesn't have any rings. So if you go compare them, is it really a comparison?
No. I don't mean inside. Well, if we're talking about accomplishments, and I'm still going to say James Harden, though. But I'm just saying the play style though, because James Harden, he used to get to the free throw line, and there were some conversations that he's found like a cheat code. I'm saying Asia Wilson might be getting to the free throw line as well too, because she might be exploiting, or the referees don't know what a foul is, which most people tend to think that way because CC being CC being manhandled on the court though. So there's some conversations that need to be discussed there about, are the refs making the right call though. But I think it's weird though that she's leading the league in free throw attempts. Like that's just wild to me. She's been leading the league in free throw attempts for the last five seasons. MC, like I think that's a little crazy, especially in the WNBA. I think that's a little crazy in my opinion.
I learned something new there, TR. She's damn near averaging a double double. If we being completely honest, she's what people expected Angel Reese to be. And
Yeah,
Angel
true.
ain't quite there yet. I'm looking at Asia's stats right now. Her field goal percentage is hovering right around 50%. So she's not a terrible shooter, and her shot selection
Yeah.
is not the worst.
Again, look at the free throw attempts. It's going to tell you a completely different story. You're going to be
Oh,
like,
I see it.
holy,
I'm looking at it right now. She
yeah,
gets a lot of free throws. You're absolutely right. But she
yeah,
also ain't afraid to go down in the box. So there's that.
yeah. It's like I said, there needs to be another conversation there. But yeah, getting back to the WNBA and should they be paid more? I'm going to say you have a conversation to, I mean, if we're going to say the whole, because you can't say CC should get paid more, but they're never going to make a rule for CC to get paid more, so it has to be the whole league. So I'll say this: yes, you should be able to get paid more, but you guys they're going about it the wrong way. I don't care about they're adding more teams, because I think that's fool's goal. I think those are just NFT teams. Honestly, there's people just trying to make a quick buck, double their money or triple their money, and then walk and get out of it. That's what I think. I think that's what ultimately what it'll turn out to be, though. But if they get like maybe 15% share, then it works.
Here's the other thing, TR. These conversations are going to keep happening as long as people like Liz Cambridge can quit the league and do OnlyFans and say that she makes more doing OnlyFans than she does playing in the WNBA.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
at the end of the day, though, I'm not disagreeing with Jamel here. I just kind of want to investigate it a little bit further.
you know what, MC, I gotta be frank with you. Um, if if Cameron Brink, Sophie, or Chloe, what's that chick's name? Chloe Sophie. Damn
Is
it,
it Sophie Cunningham?
Sophie
I think
Cunningham.
that's it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sophie Cunningham. Look, if they if they went the Liz Cambridge route, I'm telling you right now, they're going to break the internet. OF might have to go public because um, those two players right there. I mean, even with Angel Reese, I'll have to throw Angel Reese in there because a lot of you ninjas love Angel Reese. If those three women went on the OF route, they're gonna break the OF record. Like I think that was Bad Barbie or whatever, or Bad Baby. But with those three players, it's going to be a different conversation that people, and it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation that people don't want to have. But yeah, you're right. It's still available. So
And who are the biggest consumers of OFTR?
married
Married
men.
men. Yeah.
Yep, married men have been saving these 304. Married men been saving these 304s for as long as I can remember. They saving them. They put their kids to they save the women on the poles, so they put their kids' clothes, or get them to buy kids' clothes. They keep the OF market still going. Weird conversation, but it's the truth.
Oh yeah, simpage is always gonna be its own economy for sure.
Yeah.
Simping ain't easy.
Yeah. So, yeah, good conversation on WNBA. So we'll see what comes out. I think they gotta have some decision here soon, though. So we'll have an update as soon as we can. So,
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna jump to the next topic. We're going to politics. We are gonna talk about. Whoops, messed that up. MC, I believe this is your favorite president, right? Obama.
You know what's crazy? TR at one point he was, but once I became aware in 2010, I completely walked away from that. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Um, I got to say this too, because this is what I don't like. Because a lot of people, I mean, and we got some new viewers, and so most people don't realize that, or maybe they didn't know this, but I used to be a hardcore liberal. I vote, and I'll put it out there because I know a lot of people do not put this out there, but I vote. I was born, raised liberal, and I shouldn't say raised liberal, but it was just assumed I was liberal and or Democrat, and then so voted for what's her face, Hillary Clinton, and then voted for Biden. And then it wasn't until after this election I realized Biden, the Democratic Party, were just scam artists. They lie to black people. They just say whatever they need to say to black people. 2024, fast forward, voting for Trump. And I have never looked back. I've never regretted my vote. And I understand that voting has consequences. So because of some of the things that occurred leading up to Trump's victory, I admit it. I was a part of it because I voted for these people. I thought these were the best candidates. And, we're talking about Obama. I voted for Obama twice. And when you look back on it, what did Obama really do for black people? And I don't think he did anything, but he was never asked any tough questions to what he was going to do for the black community. That's the crazy part. I was like, oh, like Trump, when leading up to his election, he was always asked about January 6th. He was always asked, was the election stolen in 2020? A bunch of dumbass questions. But Obama never received any of these questions. We never asked him or requested or required him to do anything for black people. And so that should have been the wake up moment that the Democrats were full of shit for me. But unfortunately, I was still kind of still sleeping. But when it comes to like just having this conversation, I feel like, I feel like if I could do it again, my vote would have went somewhere else. It would not went to Obama, unfortunately.
I have a story similar to TR's, but
Yeah,
what I
COVID
will,
too.
yeah, what I will call out, and we have to be mindful of this, TR, the Dems used to be, they went too far to the left for me. That's ultimately what drove me away. A lot
They're
of the
still
Dems,
going too far.
yeah, but at one point when I was growing up, they were centrists. A lot of them were centrists. A lot
Yeah.
of them were still, they had, political bosses are kind of stupid to me because when you talk to people, they're liberal on some things and they're conservative on some things. I'm
Hmm.
conservative on the family and guns. I'm liberal on recycling. I think it should be mandatory and forced. But that's one of my extreme liberal stances. But I had the same story as TR. And when I started to question why people were voting the way they were voting, the answer I got more often than not was because my parents did it and because my parents expect me to.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't good enough for me. I started doing my own research. I consider myself an independent right now. I vote red when it makes sense. I vote blue when it makes sense. And I'm telling y'all right now, lately, blue ain't been making a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least not at the federal level. Locally, there's still some solid ones, but federally, nah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so we're gonna see some of the things that when it comes to Obama, the other thing that Obama doesn't we give Obama a pass on. We don't give any other man a pass on this, any other president, even Clinton, is that Michelle Obama was almost like she was almost second in command in some cases. Like she was so front facing. I think maybe some people appreciate that, maybe some people wanted that, but I'm at that point where I'm like, no, we saw what happened with Jill Biden. We saw what happened with Hillary Clinton, and more so with Michelle. But those are the two of the people that were like a little bit too front facing. It's like, what are y'all doing? Like, why can't y'all just be the first lady and just talk about just I don't know charm school. I don't know what they would do, but I don't remember hearing anything about Jackie Kennedy or I guess I'm trying to think of another famous, first lady that people like adored, but wasn't always on the front lines of things. And there's plenty out there, I
Well, the
assume.
Just Say No and the Dare campaigns, you could
Oh yeah,
argue,
Nancy Reagan.
yeah, it came from
Yes.
Nancy Reagan. Michelle Obama actually, because every first lady takes on some type of initiative. I don't know what Trump's wife is taking on, honestly, but I know Michelle Obama was focused on healthier food in schools, which you would think everybody would get behind. But we've talked about her a lot lately, TR, and she's had some anti-family rhetoric, like a lot of
Yeah.
it. And family is
Well,
the most important thing to me, so that's always gonna turn me up.
Well, not to mention, we can't forget. I'm never gonna let her forget this. Well, not that she cares what I think, but when she tried during for Kamala Harris campaign, try to convince women to go against their husbands,
Right.
and then also, say that your husband's rage is what's going to be pushed onto you if we don't get a woman. Or I'm paraphrasing, but she says something about rage and your husband's rage going against you because you don't vote right. Like that's just completely terrible messaging. Obama said terrible messages as well to the infamous. I'm gonna get Michelle, and you guys are lucky that Michelle's not here. Nigga, you lucky Michelle's not here.
Right. She
Like,
runs your life, not mine.
yeah, she runs your life. She runs your household. She runs your kids. Like, don't be
Here,
talking to us like we worried about it.
here's where I will be fair, TR, because anybody who doesn't agree with this statement, I think you're not paying attention. She's a big reason why he won twice. If he would have been married to any other woman, it probably.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive about
All
that.
right, good.
She
Lay the
completely
foundation down.
she completely galvanized and motivated all these black women to get to the polls and encourage other people to get to the polls. There were people who were more excited about who he had as a wife than who he was as a candidate.
Yeah.
I know many of those.
That's true. Yeah. No, I'll give you some points to that one because there were a lot of people. Because yeah, you're right. Because people kept talking about Michelle. I'm like, she ain't even. She ain't the man. I mean, I know some people might think there's some different things, but she ain't him. She Obama is the guy they should be worried about, or not worried about, but who they should really be excited for. But again, like you said, there were. You're right. People were excited just because it was Michelle, though. So, but let's get this video. Whoops. Let's get this video going because Obama he can't stay out of the he can't stay quiet. He's got to say some crazy shit.
That's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
Mm-hmm. One dad.
One dad. No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Right. So that I think is creating that community. I know it's corny, but that's what they need.
And we talk a lot about what
I think that was the whole thing. That was the whole list, right? Of the whole clip.
That's more than enough.
Yeah. Shit.
TR.
You can handle that one first.
I'm gonna tread very carefully here because anybody who knows me knows I call them the big four. There are four groups of people where if you want a podcast or you want to enter spaces like this, you kind of have to be careful in how you criticize them. Women, LGBT, Jewish folks.
Yeah, Brando, he said that. He said that.
And Chinese people. That being said, this is terrible, terrible advice. Because you're specifically saying that you should mentor someone based on sexual orientation. He didn't mention the fatherless trend going on in the country right now.
Right.
And let me be clear, this is not just a black issue anymore. The number of fathers outside of the home is spreading to other communities as well. That should be the most important issue. And then Obama said, well, you got to bring in people to give you, and I was going to get to that, Brando. This is grooming. They can't reproduce. They can't have kids. So the only way they can continue their ideologies is if they put it in the classroom agenda, mentor, and push this agenda that they all have. Because either you believe that they were born that way or it was a choice. I personally believe that anything we do sexually is a choice. So none of that stuff makes sense to me. I can't grasp being attracted to somebody who has the same parts as me. But what I can grasp is, why would you pick them only based on that criteria to be a mentor? Why is that so important? The only thing that we owe y'all is to show respect, as long as you're showing respect, and leave y'all alone so you can pursue life, liberty, and pursue the happiness. We don't have to give you access to our kids. You don't have to give you access to our classroom agendas and syllabi. You just don't. You just don't. The only thing I owe you is to leave you alone and let you live a peaceful life. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, when I think about like when it came to like, all this identity politics, it definitely started with him. There's no doubt that it started with him, and it created this, summer of love, the whole, like we need to, white people are the devil, and then black and brown people all of a sudden had these joint, not accomplishments or requests, but they had these goals, and it's like, well, that's not true. Everyone kind of wants to do something a little bit different, and then we had the whole LGBT stuff that was going on with some of these schools and some of these organizations, NCAA, and some of the way that these Ivy League schools, how they were operating. We had a lot of people that were just going along to get along, and it's unfortunate that we let it get this far, though, because it took one president to almost like blow up the country, and we had to like get Trump back in the office, kind of reset things. Like, say what you want about the whole Epstein files, or I got to be careful about the Epstein stuff because YouTube be acting crazy about it, the E files, and then you got to have a discussion about you may not like how Trump is doing things with the deporting, which I don't think I think he's doing deporting exactly how I voted for him. But when it comes to like everything else, though, it's like people are going to have these. You don't realize how big of an issue these things were until you see like Barack Obama and then the Obamas, really, and which is crazy that the Obamas ain't got no sons. So how would you know, Barack? Like you grew up in different during a different time. Things may have been a little bit different though. But Barack Obama, I mean, it's like you're trying to tell men that, as they have their sons, as they raise their sons, you're telling them to like, hey, make sure they have a well diverse group. And he should have kept it there, but he went too far as usual and had to put like some more labels on it though, because it's like if they have a gay friend, they have a gay friend. It is what it is. It has nothing to do, raising a son. They need to have a gay friend to have a well balanced childhood or for them to be a better man. There are plenty of men out here that have had great, childhoods and been productive members that have never had a gay friend, or maybe they didn't know they had a gay friend, or whatever the case is. They've had plenty of chance. They've been able to be productive members of society. So it's just Obama's doing the same thing again, just trying to push this rhetoric out. And it's unfortunate though to see how Barack went where he first, when I first knew about Barack, and then what he is now. Though he's not going to be remembered for being a president. He's going to be remembered for all the crap, and also what Michelle has done after his presidency.
So
Oh yeah, that's another conversation too. He didn't grow up with his dad, anyways.
I'm actually glad you brought that up too, Brando, because I just posted another study from the National Institute of Health. There is a positive correlation, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. There is a positive correlation between childhood trauma and the alphabet community. They call them adverse childhood experiences, which can be a various range of things, but ultimately it starts at your childhood didn't go as it should have been. Somebody didn't protect you properly. Somebody didn't teach you properly. But I want to know how you're going to disprove something like this, because I can use anecdotal evidence. I have homosexual people in my family, and I can tell
This
you.
is crazy. I'm gonna get the highlighted stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's hey.
So I think that they're off track. First of all, we got to get the fathers back in the house. None of that joint custody stuff. You got to be there every day because you have a skill set that the mother does not have. You can teach things that the mother cannot teach. Women cannot tell you what a man is. They can tell you how a man should treat them, but the conversation ends there. You're not even in the realm when it comes to stuff like this. Let the men hash this out. how is bringing somebody in with that type of lifestyle going to progress the masculinity curve? Like you're only selecting someone based on their sexual orientation. You didn't mention anything about their ability to problem solve. You didn't mention anything about their ability to provide and protect, maintain, sustain, or lead, which are the traits that I consider masculine in heads of household. You didn't mention none of that stuff. You just said bring in somebody who's gay. How about you let the parents teach them about the LGBT stuff and give them real and valid information? How about you let the people in their family that live the lifestyle teach them about that information? What is your obsession with letting these outside influences get access to these children? I don't get it. I don't
Mhm.
get it.
Yeah. I you at the end of the day, MC, this is the thing, like, because we can have these conversations, and if you try to have these conversations with some different people from, especially different people, yeah, silent P, right? That's the next step. Um, when you try to have these conversations out loud, people that lose their mind. Like I've learned to, when there are certain topics that come up, I have to like try to pull back a little because you can't go extreme. You can't, you got to try to have like kind of a balance and try to have a conversation that invites people from, someone that doesn't think the same way you do. But when it comes to stuff like this, these people like lose their mind and they refuse to have the conversation. Like why it's okay to have drag show story hour. Like if any of these Democrats were really honest, or actually if these reporters were really honest, they would ask them that question, like, hey, do you believe, men and women, men can play women's sports? Okay, you said so. So I don't believe that. You're never getting my vote. But when it comes to like the Democrats and the liberals, progressives, it's like they all, like, if it's Trump's on the ballot, they're gonna side with these guys no matter what. Because we got to remember, people still try to get Kamala Harris into a good portion of, America did try to get Kamala Harris in the office. Good thing it didn't work out. But I mean, people like the Barack Obamas, Michelle, they ain't going anywhere. They're gonna keep pushing this rhetoric, and people are gonna keep falling, especially the black community. They're gonna keep falling for these conversations from Barack Obama and Michelle. And I don't know what people are going to do though, because we got a 2028 coming up, and I mean it's only 3 years away, but still though, it's like they're going to be back. They're going to be back doing the same thing over and over again, and people refuse to have this real conversation about the Democrats. And really, if the progressives win, it's going to be a whole nother series of issues, because they cannot let the AOCs, the Jasmine Crockett's, even that Zorha Madani in New York. They can't let those folks, get these high level political positions though, because they're going to plunge this country into like a former USSR, some communist nation.
I want somebody in the chat to tell me if you agree with Obama. Tell me how that would benefit a child. Because I guarantee you the answer you're going to come back to me with is teach them empathy. Why can't his mom and dad teach him empathy?
Yeah, exactly.
When
Which
you make a
most of them
statement
do.
like that, you're implying that straight people aren't capable of showing empathy to people that aren't straight.
Yeah, that's another good point too. It's like, see, what's funny about that? They'll tell you all day, they'll tell you up and down that two gay people can have a kid, but they cannot teach, just like you said, a heterosexual couple cannot teach a kid empathy when it comes to gay people. It's like, we have plenty of those people doing stuff like that, and they don't need to go out and try to find someone or add someone to their group just because they are, they fix some, fit in some check boxes. So yeah, it's always funny how when it's time to shit on heterosexual couples or imply there's some gray areas when it comes to like learning about empathy or love or what a marriage should look like. It's always like, always negative things or just, beneath the surface. But when it comes to, gay couples, hey, it's all good. It's all great. It's always positive conversations. I'm like, that's not always true. And we've seen some conversations where I don't remember the name of the couple, but they were abusing kids. I'm not saying that's all couples, but those stories get buried a lot.
Rick Nasheed used to do stories every week about homosexual couples that were doing that every
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
But here's my other thing. Um, the problem is So I used to work for a known payment processing company, right? I was a manager there, and when homosexual marriage, when the Supreme Court declared it legal, they made all the managers go to a rally celebration. They made us go, and I'll never forget this.
All right.
One of the things that they said, one of the VPs of finance got up there and said, "This is exactly the same thing as the Emancipation Proclamation."
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
that statement was made, I got up and I walked out. I was like, "No, you can't have that one. Not with
Yeah.
my attention span. You can't have it. It's not the same thing." And here's my other point.
Not
This
even
ain't the
close.
this ain't the '80s no more, man. Ain't nobody following y'all and committing acts of violence on y'all anymore. Everybody realizes that's stupid and that was idiotic, right?
Hmm.
Y'all got first y'all said y'all wanted the mayor's thing, y'all got it. But here was the problem. Y'all decided to go and take another victory lap and then ask for more. You won, but then you say, no, we're gonna take 3 or 4 victory laps. You're gonna throw it in your face, and now we're gonna start putting stuff in front of y'all kids. And
The
that's when people
parades,
start
the
getting
schools, the sports.
that's when the people started getting sick of it and pushing back, like, no, you didn't went too far now. And hence you have what you have right now.
Yeah, and the July or is it June? June Pride Month. So they went a whole. All those companies got on board with the two. It's like y'all created your own monster, but that's on y'all. Y'all figure it out on the next cycle.
Yep. Figure it out without me.
Yeah, for real. So, all right, we are gonna jump to some pop culture. The T app. MC, have you heard about the T app?
Unfortunately, it's been going viral in a lot of different places. I have a story about that one later too.
Hey, I'm getting this queued up. You got time to share or what?
So one of my fraternity brothers got caught up in the TI. Somebody ran
Damn.
into this. Here's the thing though, TR.
Yikes.
Somebody ran, they did their little comments and got their little intel and found out that he was married. But here's the thing, TR. He's a
Hmm.
junior. His dad's a senior. It was his
Oh,
dad's information they pulled up.
you know what?
It,
I didn't even think about how those situations could impact people. I thought of some other scenarios, but that was one of them I didn't think about.
so the young lady he was dealing with, she fumbled. Like she basically lost somebody who works for the Disney Corporation. It's like it's pretty good money.
You know, so she broke up with him, is what you're saying?
No, he broke up with her once he realized what she was doing. He said, "No, no, I'm good. I don't want to deal
Oh,
with none of that." Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. So we're going to talk about the T app though. But when I heard about the T app though, I was already it was already going in my head like there were some terrible things that this could be used for malicious intent though, because essentially it's the are we dating the same guy dating app though, and it's like or just in app form, and I've just seen the conversations that go on Reddit because they got a bunch of those conversations on there and a lot of men are just dealing with stuff like that. There was a person I talked to over the weekend who was, telling me a story where some guy, he pretty much, I mean, unfortunately, the guy was cheating on his wife though. But it got to a point where he got exposed for it, which, lesson to the men cheating on their wives, there's some of the things that could happen. But, you know, CEO app astronomer. But anyways, she was telling me that the guy pretty much, he deleted himself over it because he had too much stuff that was going on. He was losing his marriage, but it's like, yeah, you can't be cheating on your wife though. But I don't know if that warrants you have to, delete yourself. But you just don't want to be in those situations. But this tells me the dating landscape, it's just really messed up. So yeah, most of y'all ain't never gonna get married, honestly. So
Yeah. Single bros, what y'all gonna do?
yeah, for real.
Anonymously spilling the tea on men they dated on a new viral app, which has just been hacked after gaining a huge influx of new users.
Ryan in Newport Beach, here's his review. Dated him for 2 years to find out when he went on his work trip, he was actually going on his honeymoon.
Upon opening tea, users can see photos of local men along with their names. They can leave red flags or green flags, as well as comments, including about negative date experiences or even vouching for them as a friend. The app also lets users run background checks, search for criminal histories, and even reverse image search to check if a man is catfishing.
I
Look
just
at
found
this.
out the guy I've been seeing has a whole girlfriend. Like, he's in a relationship of 5 years, and I'm not the only other girl he's talking to.
While the company says their mission is to keep women safe, they've also faced backlash from men who say they fear being misrepresented or doxxed on the platform.
I had a female friend of mine go undercover on the T app, and I found that there were some women talking about me. They were clearly just upset. They felt that they got slighted. Is there anything we could do about this? This is defamation. This is entirely untrue.
T promises anonymity to its users, but on Friday morning, it confirmed to NBC News that 72,000 photos were accessed without authorization, including 13,000 account verification photos that were supposed to be kept private. Now it's possible that some of those identifying images are being leaked online. Online spaces for women to talk about men they've dated are not new. You may have heard of the Are We Dating the Same Guy
Yep.
Facebook groups, which have received their own share of controversy and have even faced lawsuits, which were later dismissed. But some on the app are now saying they feel the app is
The key word, they were dismissed. Like we've gone past what was it, past the Rubicon, is what they say. Like we've gone past the Rubicon when it comes to dating. There's no fixing this. And I think we're done with that story for a little bit. I might share one more thing, but we've gone past the Rubicon with this stuff though, because if that's just the T app for now, we're gonna have another app that just shows up. And I know the men version has come out though, but
They shut it down.
oh, they shut it down.
Yeah.
No surprise. Well, I heard some stories on there, so I'm not too surprised it got shut down. But I'll tell you this much though. What I heard, how this app got hacked, they had no security. There was no security protocols. They had no, I mean, apparently they didn't think to hire a security officer because apparently it was just like 1 or 2 layers. I don't know if you remember the data breach from the credit card companies, but they had like 2 layers of security, and then it was just, hey, you get past those first 2 layers. All right, open season. Here's all this information. So it's not like, I'm not saying that, I don't like to promote hacking because it's a terrible situation. Like my information has been hacked again. I was in the credit card bureau's hack, and then there was another major hack that happened with my medical with the insurance company that I was going through that I didn't go through anymore, which is the crazy part because they hold on to information forever. They got hacked, so my information got leaked out. And so I had to add a bunch of alerts and everything to see, make sure nothing got opened or inquiries or whatever the case is, social security number, all that stuff. It gets hacked. And, it's unfortunate that these women were hacked though. But again, you were so happy about slandering men. And I'm not saying they were all slandering men, but a good majority of this stuff sounded like it was a lot of slander. And it's all legal too. It's all just, hey, we're just having a private conversation. And so they're allowed to say the slanderous things and not to, I mean, you would think these women would be like, well, this is kind of messed up what they're doing to these men. But it's like, well, what if it's your son or what if it's your brother, your uncle, maybe your father, if he's, back on the scene? Do you think this is a good app overall? No, it's not a good app. And, unfortunately, like I said, these women, they had all their private information leaked. And if you go on X, you can kind of see, you're not surprised that the people that were leaking, that were adding the information, you're not going to be surprised. But just kind of show you how dating is so messed up and what, women want to do in order to, get back at men because they didn't get the outcome that they wanted.
So let me extend an olive branch to the women before I destroy this.
Yeah, the whole facts.
If you are a woman who is potentially interested in a man, you are well within your rights to do your vetting and checks to make sure it's safe for you and it's worth your time. That being said, this was a terrible way to address that. TR, I'm going to disagree with you. There were a lot of illegal things happening there. There's going to be some lawsuits coming out in the next couple of days. There was a gentleman who accused them of posting a picture of him and his daughter, who was a minor. There was a gentleman who alleged that there was some HIPAA information, him being sickle cell and some other things shared. There was another gentleman who was fighting slander and libel. I guess someone said he was out there burning everybody like the block was hot. There's a whole bunch of messiness on this app. I've seen some screenshots. MTR does a really good breakdown of the T app with screenshots. And a lot of these women, because they think they're anonymous, are saying some wild things. I saw a
Yeah.
comment where a woman was disrespecting how a man's child looked. So there's a whole bunch of messiness going on in those apps, and the accountability was very much lacking.
Well,
And them not having a compliance or an infosec officer is ridiculously crazy. Like whoever's running that company is an idiot for that reason.
oh yeah, they're probably gonna get fired. But my thing is because the are we dating the same guy? That's a little more public than the T app, and both of those lawsuits were dismissed on the fact that it's in a group, so it's in a forum, and so I don't know the legalese on it, but essentially that's why they dismissed it. And I'm thinking the same thing with the T app as well too, because you have to opt into it or you have to pay to be in there, and obviously I give up all your information. But I don't know, man. I'll be curious to see if something does come out of it, and that might be the reason why the Tinders and the Bumbles, which are doing very terrible right now, that might be the reason why they haven't gone the same route as the T app, though. But this is terrible for dating though, because anyone can say anything about you. I mean, somebody was having a conversation like, men you just gotta get married and you just gotta be in a good relationship and don't treat women bad. That the T app doesn't work like that. Anybody can say anything about you. Can have a stalker that says, "Hey, I was with him last night. I found out he had a wife." That's going to make you look bad. That's going to make you look terrible, and you can't do anything about it because for starters, you got to hope that someone tells you. Which I did ask some other women that are in my circle. Am I on the? Are we dating the same guy? Luckily, I don't piss anyone off like that, which I thought I did, but apparently not. Not that I'm asking to be on there. So the 3% of women that listen to us don't add me on there, but but the point is that it's a terrible situation though, because the T app, there's a need for the T app, and it could be manipulated. And there's going to be another T app. There's going to be another T app. And so until it gets to like the Supreme Court, or they can just think of it this way, MC. We have laws. We have those revenge porn laws. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That got pushed through by multiple women, and one primarily, which I think she's great looking. Paris Hilton. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to marry her because she just got married. And check out our Christmas video of Paris Hilton, folks. But anyways, Paris Hilton, she pushed that. She pushed to get that the revenge porn and some other abuse that happened in the industry. Or well, not in her industry, but things that happened to her when she was a kid, because she went to like a camp for, I don't know what it was for, but cuckoo camp. I don't know. I'm being disrespectful. But anyways, the point is she went to that camp though, and she said there were some terrible things that happened at the camp that happened to her. She was abused. And so I get that. That makes sense though. But unless there's a celebrity that comes out, because a lot of men have not really been coming out. Everyone's kind of cracking jokes. But you tell me the guy that's come out and said like, hey, this is messed up and we need a law protecting men from this type of slander and libel situations. None has ever come out though. And are we dating the same guy? That's been out for years.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend that's been on the Are We Dating the Same Guy. I don't know if you do that. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that story.
But he made an appearance on there. I would just say this, man. Y'all single folks, y'all can have all of this. I don't want none of this smoke. None of this smoke.
Look, no, you're right.
No, you always talking about the marriage bros. This is a single bros conversation. So defend your tribe, TR. Here's what I will say, ladies.
Yeah.
If you're so concerned about a guy's health status, why don't you go get an STD test with him together, or a physical together? If he's married or not, that's public information. You can look that up. If he has any felonies, or if he's a PDF file, that's public information.
Right.
You can look that up. Why join this app anonymously, or at least you thought you were anonymously, but now your photo IDs and addresses have been hacked and are probably being shared on the dark web right now. But why go in there to do this anonymously and not stand on who you are as an adult and just ask the tough questions? And here's the other point, TR.
They don't want to know.
I talked to a coworker who got down on the T app, and you know what she told me the number one conversation was on there? Body count. No, I thought women got offended when men ask questions about body count. So now they looping behind the men that they possibly interested in and confirming body counts. So what are y'all doing, single people?
Hey, going back to what Brando said earlier about talking about the whole facts, this is actually pretty bad though because I never saw the male version of this, but I know it got pulled. But think about it though, if you can track a woman's body count history, that's gonna make her look really bad though. You can, yeah, they have the one for the woman, but if women start getting tracked like this, there's gonna be a lot of people finding out that they wives used to bust it down for a real one. It's gonna look really bad for a lot of people though. A lot of marriages might be like, wait, you used to do what? You don't do that for me, only for my birthday. Like shit like that. So people need to you're right. You do have to hope you get lucky that your girl ain't busting down for a real one and that she doesn't have a high body count. But good luck when you figure that out.
I'm gonna need for men to stop being delusional. Look, unless you marry in some type of virgin or something, your lady was somebody else's freak at one point in time. I don't know why we sitting there
Yeah,
playing
so
around with this.
MC,
Yeah,
I understand it. I get your point on that, and I think men are okay with that. But
are they?
I think men are okay. Men know when a girl look, if your girl is phenomenal at the gawk or she can throw it back, she had learned from somebody. So sometimes you just gotta like ignore some things. But
Nah, TR, there's a lot of goofy ninjas out here that like she learned that just for me. She must have watched the
yeah,
video. Nah,
watch the
dude.
video. I'm just saying,
She watched the college basketball team. That's what she watched.
yeah, for real. So, but what I'm saying is, it's one thing, you have an idea of something like that happen, but then to see like if your chick shows up on the whole facts, which I think that they they knew to create that. If she shows up on there, I mean, if you see a list, you're gonna feel some type of way though. So you kind of have to be careful with that stuff too. I was thinking, and I didn't do this, but I was thinking, I was like, man, if I wanted to be with a girl, all you have to do is just pay some girl to go on there, slander the guy that she's with, swoop on in with the cape, and then she's your girl now. But again, I didn't. Like I said, I was thinking of ways that this app could be manipulated, and that's one of the easiest ways it could be manipulated. So
It could be manipulated as soon as they were guaranteed being anonymous. You ain't got to stand on nothing
Oh yeah,
when you're
yeah.
anonymous. That's why people on Reddit are so bold.
Yeah, yeah. Well, really, are we dating the same guy too? Because they have the anonymous feature as well. So
Yeah.
but man, yeah, you're right though. I will say that MC, you're making a good case why people need to, either you go the free agent lifestyle or you get married. So
Get married young too, because the longer you wait, the more baggage she gonna have and the more body she gonna have.
no, you said that wrong. The more back shots she's going to be taking.
That too. A lot of protein shakes. Single bros, good luck. I wish y'all the best. I really do, because I don't want none of the smoke that y'all getting right now. I really don't.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of a funny story, and I can't do that. We got to do that after dark. But we'll go to the next subject. So, all right, we get into the main event. Whites only town. Might change that banner, but MC, have you heard anything about this story about the whites only town in Arkansas?
I've heard of sundown towns, but this particular story, no, I haven't.
Okay, you are in. Whoops, you're in for a treat on this one though, because we're gonna have a good conversation about this one. So,
no gays. High up, no blacks, no Jews, no gays. High up in the Ozark Hills, in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, building houses and a new type of community. It's called Return to the Land, and it is a town open to white people only. They are millennials and Gen Z, and this is a new update of age-old prejudice.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have
White
control
dog.
over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
It's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. this is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out, even if
Well, I mean, you don't let everyone into your home.
around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And while the men do the physical labor, the women take care of the children who live here full time. It could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black, or if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do.
You might be wondering how any of this can be legal. Return to the Land is structured as a private members association, which they believe allows them to discriminate on the basis of ethnicity, along with other factors. That has yet to be tested in the courts and may well fail. The Arkansas Attorney General has said his office is now reviewing the matter as a result of our reporting, and that there is no room for racial discrimination in Arkansas or anywhere in a free society. No blacks, no Jews.
You know, MC, I think this is a very interesting conversation. But before you, before you get your thoughts off, okay? I don't want you to think I'm trying to set you up or anything, but I want you to, and you know what? You may actually remember this too. If I think I have this queued up. Yeah. All right. So before you go off on this, God damn it. See, this is producing is crazy work. All right.
Indeed. I was just about to bring this up. Go ahead, though.
Ownership is powerful. Our ancestors practiced it. So it's almost as if we're tapping into those same successful energies that allowed our ancestors to prosper. And my children are tapping into that energy.
It's important because it creates generational wealth, something that didn't seem obtainable for us as Black people. And it's just a way for us to leave something for our
Pause real quick, TR.
and just have something.
MC is only 52 seconds.
I know, but I just want to let it cook. Then I'll bring it up later.
All right.
Like wealth for our children. 3 years ago, I didn't think that I would have 500 acres. So the average person doesn't really think that it's obtainable until you see other people, other regular people going out and buying land. We want to inspire all the Black people that we can. Go get you some land and build wealth for your family.
God, that's such a feel-good story. Night and day difference from the Arkansas folks. And this is Freedom, Georgia. So I don't know if you remember, this was a story that was trending back in the post-COVID and summer of love days. But
I've been there.
Thoughts, MC?
It's beautiful. I've been there. Unpopular opinion on TR. I don't care if racist people don't like me. I don't care.
Whoa, MC. I
don't care.
We don't know if these people are racist. Wait, who are you talking about? The Black people or the white people?
I don't care if anybody who is considered racist likes me or not. I don't care. As long as you're not affecting my safety, my ability to create my own economy, and my education and learning. If you don't affect those three things, I don't care how you feel about me. I don't care. That's my thoughts. This is how the majority of people think privately, and they don't want to say it publicly. People want people that look like them to be successful and great. Mm-hmm. And these people, both of these examples that you just showed me, are people who are trying to fix and repair their cultures. I have no problem with that as long as you're not affecting those three things I just talked about.
Yeah, see, Brandon will be on my side.
Okay, so let me ask both of y'all this.
This nigga.
If a Black person tried to move into that Arkansas territory and they said, "Nah, we're not rocking with you," what would you call that?
Well, he said you got to fill out the paperwork.
It literally says whites only.
No,
in the article in the story that you
the person that produced it, which was, I think it was ABC or whoever the network was, they produced it. When the guy was talking, he never said, no whites, no blacks. No blacks, no gays, no Jews. He actually never said that. There's actually a longer clip where he said that they will, people can still apply, and then they just take it under, they'll just look at a different, evaluation or something. But they never really said none of those groups can get in there. They never once said that. It was just that's how the the ABC folks. That's how
So
they
we're
framed
playing
it.
word salad right now, TR. So let me
I'm
flip
not.
my
I'm not
question.
shuffling. I'm not shuffling.
I'm
I'm
not
telling you
saying
what
you
happened.
shuffling, but we playing word salad. Let me flip my question. And Brando, I'm gonna ask both of y'all this. Say that they extended you an invitation to live there. Would you accept it?
MC, I think you're asking the wrong question. But
Okay, no, this is the question. I want y'all both
look,
to answer it.
okay, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this much. I'm not living in either of those places because I figured. Look, here's the thing: if I got the money that I think to live in this situation, I don't want to live by anybody. That's the thing. Unless it's like the end of the world, I don't want to live in no damn compound. I'd rather just live somewhere far out in the country by myself. I don't want to be living next to all. These are too many people. I get anxiety when there's a bunch of people in my area, and so I'm like, look, I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't want to hear you beat your wife. I don't want to hear you have like whatever if you guys want to bust it down. I don't want to hear any of that stuff. I want to live in my own area. I don't want to live by multiple people. So the answer is I don't live by. I'll decline the invitation to both the locations.
So if you want to live in a location like that, first of all, I hope you're armed. I hope
Yes,
you
yes.
two-way all day. Me personally,
These people aren't armed.
I prefer, technically, I live outside of Phoenix in a town that's outside of Phoenix. I like living in a town. I like small, intimate groups, but I want access to the city for social stuff. That's my ideal type of living. And it seems like both of those, because I think earlier the Arkansas place, it isn't that far from Little Rock. So you have outlets to do things when you want to be social, but when it comes to your tribe and your community, I don't care who you choose to be in there because I'm doing the same thing. I'm building my tribe. I don't factor in race when I'm building my tribe. I factor in character.
Yeah.
These people are factoring in race. That's on them. As long as they're not affecting.
Wait, you gotta which people? The black people or the white people? Which one?
Both. 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 Tell me how you can have smoke for one but not the other.
I'm just saying, MC. Look, I see both sides of it. No one still hijack it. Yeah, no,
and that's what I'm saying. They're fixing their culture. Did you hear what he said? All the women stay home and raise the kids, and all the men go out and provide. Hey, that's dope. I absolutely respect that. So, I don't know how things are in the Freedom, Georgia side, but I passed through there, and it's a very beautiful piece of land. But
MC, when was the last time you passed through Freedom, Georgia? Because I'm going somewhere with this.
It's been a minute. It's been like 3 or 4
Would you say more than 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So the only reason I bring that up though, because I remember when this was a thing, and I thought like, oh yeah, man, kind of cool. But the way they framed it versus the way this was CBS that framed the Freedom, Georgia, and then it was NBC the way they framed it for the Arkansas folks. They're doing the same exact thing. The Arkansas folks, they got a website. The Freedom, Georgia folks, they have a website. I'll try to pull it up here though.
Yeah, so we agree.
But the crazy thing, let me get this. So they started this about 2 years ago. Okay, MC. And you're not gonna like this if it pulls out.
I hope you ain't about to. Yeah, I have a feeling. I think I know what you about to pull up.
Yeah. This was 2022. So unless they are using a different website, I'm sorry to say I'm not sure if they're making any progress down at Freedom, Georgia, and they removed their profile picture, so that tells me something else is going on here. I'm looking at
If what you're saying is true and no progress is being made and it's not progressing like it should be, guess whose fault that is? It ain't nobody's fault but ours. Because if we trying to do
what you mean ours?
if we're trying to do something like this and repair our culture and fix our communities, that's nobody else's fault but ours if it hasn't popped off yet.
Yeah. And so I say all this to say the issue. Let me see what Brando just said.
Oh yeah, I saw what he said, and that's a good point.
Hey, this is why white flight was a thing. Gentrification.
I think where we are. And Brando,
yeah, she was quirky.
Yeah, she was. And as soon as I saw that, TR, I know right away that this ain't the project for me because we need a cultural fix. We need it in the worst way. We got to get rid of all of these hypersexual and loud and combative and don't know how to treat each other. We got to get them ninjas out of here.
You know what? I didn't realize this was even on here though, but she said, well, you can't see it. It might be hard for the people to see it though, but this says black feminist on the cap. I didn't even pick that up until I was
Well,
just looking at it.
that's another reason why I'm out. I ain't trying to hear that either.
See, MC, this is the thing that I have with. I know a lot of people will see this and say like, "Oh, they're just trying to have a whites only, blah blah blah, whatever." And it's like, yeah, I get it, fine. You can go do the same thing too. I wish I could have showed you the Anton Daniels clip because he had a conversation about it too, and people were really tripping about it. Though I'm like, what do y'all? Do y'all really care about that much? Do y'all want to be in Ozark, Arkansas? Like, I know the Ozarks are, if you've been there, it's a great place to look at and drive through, just like Freedom, Georgia, like you said. But when it comes to like, building everything from scratch, I'm not going to be there. And I just don't think there's really that big of a deal. Like, I don't think anyone's really tripping about them doing it. It's just that people just the reaction behind it, though. And honestly, though, I'm going to tell you this much: the white people that they were interviewing, they should have been clapping back, though. They should have been a little more prepared about this, though, because first of all, the dude that was interviewing them, he framed it like they were a bunch of racists. I would be like, bitch, you were racist. Like, you think why do you think we're racist? You haven't seen anything that implies that we are racist. Just because we have guidelines on what the type of people are going to be here, that's not really doesn't make them racist. They just said, hey, if you want to get in here, this is no one complains about the NFL with the ownership group that they have. No one complains about the golf clubs, about the types of people they let in there. These people, unfortunately, this was just a bad interview on their part. That's what I'm going to say, because I don't think these people are saying that they are racist, but at the end of the day, they're allowed to do anything like this, and they should not let that guy frame the conversation as if they were racist. I bet you money if they could do the interview over again, they would do it, because this is extremely messed up on their part or ABC part. But I'm not surprised that they try to frame these people as being racist. Like, you're worried about J hats. You're worried about the J crew coming out there. They're not coming out there. You're worried about black people coming out there. Black people are not coming out there. And you worry about gay people coming out there. Again, they're gay. They're not going out there. If you got a bunch of straight people, why would they go out there? That's that's the conversation I think people are really overlooking, though. But they forget about the Freedom Georgia project.
So you said a lot there. I think what we will agree, you gotta assume that the news is going to play to your emotions. So you got to do your own research. So they probably did overstate what the people in Arkansas were really trying to do. But
Yeah.
you can set a rock solid HOA
Facts,
memo of
Brando.
understanding, community charter rules, and you can weed out the ninjas that don't need to be there. Here's
Yeah.
how you weed most of them out. Hey, we ain't having no parties after 8 o'clock except for on Saturday. The whole neighborhood got to be quiet after 8 o'clock. That's how you weed out the ninjas. Hey,
Royal
you don't
Caribbean rules.
If you don't cut your grass and maintain your yard properly, you're going to get fined and assessed until we can keep you with enough fees to push you out of here. That's
Yep.
how you attack.
Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, like, look, man.
Or
The
was it
intent-
Carnival? It's one of the two.
It was Carnival.
Yeah.
But I say this about us, and I'll continue. The problem with us is the people with the loudest voices are generally the ones that need to STFU. That's always been the case. We saw it with the DNC convention where they threw Meg Thee Stallion up there and thought that was going to inspire people to vote. Like, we chase goofy stuff, and then we get mad when we get goofy results. So it is what it is. But going back to Arkansas, this doesn't bother me. They established the culture. They're not harming anybody while doing that. So what do you want me to do? You want me to be mad? Because I bet you a lot of people that look like us here they're going to see this and wonder why we're not outraged by it. Here's my counter back. Let's do our own thing. Let's get the people together that's serious about this and actually want to improve and fix our culture.
Yeah. And
Problem
so
solved.
this, what's funny about this? So these folks were on your leisure, which I'm sure they got like some clicks on it and everything. But also, don't you remember what was it, the Wakanda city? Who was that? Was it Akon? supposed to be a city of Wakanda or whatever.
Yeah, but that's a little bit more complicated because China's involved in that, and China's doing some crazy stuff in Africa and the Caribbean. But
Hey,
I hear you.
all I know is they were supposed to be involved with, like, I mean, it was, you know, coined the Wakanda city, and you know, these are two, you know, as much as smoke as the Arkansas town are getting, no one's giving smoke to the Freedom, Georgia folks. No one's giving smoke to the Akon city. No one's giving a lot of smoke, but only people getting smoke are the Ozark folks. So it's always a funny conversation when people want to like point this out. And first of all, they don't want to live there, but it's always a funny conversation. It's like you can do exactly what they're doing. You can create an ownership group just like these people did in Freedom, Georgia, and you can fuck around for like 2-3 years and nobody's going to hold you accountable. I think these people kind of walked away from the project, honestly. I mean, someone might own the land, but I think for the most part, people walked away from it.
Yeah, last I heard, it was up to 19 families that were getting involved. I don't know where it stands now. It's been a while since I checked on it, actually. But
Yeah, I'm surprised they even had
this
it.
doesn't bother me like it's probably going to bother most people.
Yeah, no, it's the part that does kind of bother me though. And I say it bothers me is because it's like you guys set out to do something and you didn't even complete it. Is what happened with this freedom plan, this freedom community? Because to me, it looks like the people in Arkansas are a little bit further ahead than the folks at the and that's just Instagram, so we don't know exactly what they've been posting, but you would think people would be posting about it though. They'd be discussing it. They would have some type of conversation, but they really aren't. So
Yeah, I'm trying to find some more recent pictures on the Freedom Georgia side. I'm not seeing anything. That's typically not a good thing.
yeah, it looks like they posted
Yeah.
on their Facebook. They posted they updated their cover photo earlier this year, but that's really it. I don't see anything else that's actually been set up though. And honestly though, if Black people did, you know, push this and they were making progress, people would get behind it 100%. I mean, people are still behind it, I believe, but if they, you know, if they start promoting it a little bit more, they would definitely be a little bit further. So I don't know, man. And prior to that photo, the last photo or the last update was back in 2022. So
Yeah, my point still remains. As long as you ain't affecting those three things I talked about earlier, do you? I don't care.
yeah.
Right, no, it's wild that we don't want white people thinking they're superior, but our own reactions reveal it's everyone else with the inferiority complex. I agree. We
Yeah.
spend too much time worried about what other people are doing and what other people think about us. That's always been my biggest frustration.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of the whole Hulk Hogan thing because I did see, I mean, like, we have some personal stuff or personal posts that we don't always share on here though. But it was kind of interesting to see people outside of that, like just really talk about Hulk Hogan. It's like most of y'all don't care about Hulk Hogan. You just care about one thing he said, and and people just started lost it. They started to go along with it. And so this kind of reminds me of that, though, is that people really don't care about this stuff. The Arkansas folks, they just want to be mad about it, though, especially when it involves white people. It's like, do you really care? I know you don't care. Like, I can definitely tell you do not care about what these white people are doing. And, you know, if you focused on some of the other, you know, self-exclaimed, I don't forgot the word, but the black heroes that you do care about, what are they doing? Anything similar to it? And I don't think people really do care. Yeah, the Hulk Hogan.
You know what? We might as well talk about him for 5 to 10 minutes. You got time to? Or you
Heck,
good?
yeah, let me change the banner real quick though. That way I can clip this up properly.
All right, I'm gonna close this out real quick by saying, if you mad about what they're doing, they build your own and create a positive culture and invite people to build with you. Bam, problem solved.
Yeah. All right. Hulk Hogan. Terry Hogan.
So the reason why I want to talk about this, I made a post, and people don't understand nuance. I get it. They want to react off emotion. Two things can be true about somebody, right? We know, we heard the tapes that he did not want his children to date black people. We've heard him use the N-word.
Oh, really? His daughter.
His daughter, whoever, right? But what's also true is there's no WWE without that dude.
Yeah.
So the only point I was trying to make is you can't ignore the impact. If you want to call him a POS, that's fine. I agree with you. But you cannot ignore the impact. I haven't watched wrestling in years, but I know for a fact there is no WWE without him.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all I was trying to say.
It's also the same thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not that Stone Cold said anything remotely close to what Hogan said, but I know certain people feel a certain type of way about Stone Cold, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, still a phenomenal wrestler, and if it come out that he felt some type of way about black people, or he felt some type of way about certain groups of people, I'm like, yeah, that's terrible. But I'm still going to respect the what he did for wrestling and the Attitude Era. And it's just one of those things. Like, I'm not trying to say I'm giving Hogan a pass or anything. I just don't. Honestly, for me, I just didn't care. And I know why some people felt some type of way, but it's like, well, he said it, and then it seems like people just found out about it, honestly. Like, and it's like, why are y'all still mad about this? He said this almost, it was, what was it? I forget how long it was. But whenever he said it, though, it was almost like 5 or 7 years ago. And it's like, why are y'all really mad about this, though? Like, that whole situation was already weird to begin with. And I don't know if you know the full story, MC, though, but apparently he was being set up. He was plowing some other guy's wife, which, again, hey,
Yeah,
y'all
they sent
cannot
it
be.
to TMZ for a check.
Yeah, yeah. You can't be doing this. Like, plowing another man's wife got you set up, and almost bankrupted him, but he did an Uno reverse, and he bankrupted the company that leaked the audio, or leaked the audio and the video of what happened that night, though. So, which was Gawker LLC or whatever it was, but he bankrupted them and got a big bag out of it. But ultimately, going back to Hogan, though, it's like, people just want to be upset with somebody just because that person passed away, though. Again, for me, I don't care. I do respect what he did. I played, when he went to WCW, I played the N64 games. I played all the wrestling games. And, he still has one of the best intros as well, too. So people want to be mad at me, so be it. But I ain't about to let you motherfuckers tell me. Most of you motherfuckers voted for Kamala, so I really ain't going to listen to you.
I'm going to quote Andrew Wilson from the Whatever podcast. I'm not getting my morality for somebody that thinks deleting an unborn child is moral. I'm not trying to hear your morality if that's your stance on anything. I'm just not. That being said, I have no feelings about this Hulk Hogan thing. Like I said, both things are true. He off wrestling and he was a POS. Both things can be true, and that's the case here.
Well, what's funny about all this? People can make the distinction with R. Kelly. Like, they know what R. Kelly's been accused of and what he was convicted of. People still listen to R. Kelly. They're like, well, I can separate the artist from the pedophile, the PDF file. Like, what? you can just turn that off, apparently. So I think it's kind of interesting people can do that. People still got smoke for Bill Cosby. Honestly, I think Bill Cosby is innocent. I think they were all complicit. I think they all were like, wanting to do crazy stuff, though. But people still hold that against Bill Cosby. And I'm like, man, that's just craziness. That's just crazy nonsense. But, people pick and choose when they want to, like, step on somebody. But, hey, don't get mad when people start talking ish about I can't, or George Floyd. Like, people lose their mind when people start talking about George Floyd. So it just told me y'all didn't have no respect for anybody. Y'all talk about anyone, honestly.
Yeah. And here's the thing, man. If somebody makes a bold statement, I don't attach emotion to it. Like, Candace Owens has said multiple times since she's talking about George Floyd that what really ended him was essentially he had stuff in his system.
Yeah.
And that there's footage of him saying when he was in the car earlier that he couldn't breathe. I'm not going to emotionally react to that. What I'm going to do is go investigate it and see if it's actually true or not. I can attach myself to a statement that I can't let another person be responsible for my feelings ever. I grew up like that, and it's chaotic and it's a mess. So if you're going to get pissed at me because I don't hate the same things you hate, or I don't react the same way you react, I say good riddance. I don't need you in my life anyway. I'll do the research. I'll determine if it's true or false, and then I'll come back with my counterpoints.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's if anything, that's ever since since that video released, and you also have to listen to the court filings as well too. So there's a conversation to be discussed there, but you really gotta listen to all the video, look at all the footage, as well as listen to the court documents as well too, because a lot of people didn't watch the court case, and if you watch the court case, you're gonna come away with a different reaction versus what the media wants you to react to. So.
But taking
But
it
yeah,
back to Hogan real quick, TR, if you are emotionally attaching yourself to any celebrity, I
true.
personally think that's kind of goofy in the first place, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any celebrity that I can just be like, okay, you're doing too much. Like, and it's hard for me. Like, I can, like I said, I mean, like the whole R. Kelly, like not that I'm an R. Kelly fan, but I understand why people. I understand when they say they can make the determination though, but it's just weird how people went out on a limb with Hulk Hogan. It was just crazy to me.
I do know some people that took it pretty hard when Chadwick Boseman died. I get that one. I've never heard anybody say anything bad
Or
about
Kobe.
a lot of people took the Kobe thing. They forgot about Colorado. Like they completely forgot about Colorado with Kobe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
both things can be true. It happened, and he's one of the greatest to ever pick up a basketball. It's a nuanced conversation.
Well, if we're really going to have that conversation, Richard Pryor, like,
People seem to forgot about that too.
yeah, Richard.
If you want to go down this slippery slope with
James Brown
for crazy things, if they don't even get me started on
yeah,
that. But he's still one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, or Michael Jackson. If you really go down that road, there's a lot of people.
As a big MJ fan, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Absol, he said this. He was one of the kids. He's a rapper on TDE. He was there. He said none of that stuff happened. He was just he was a little bit weird, like a grown adult, still acting like a kid. But he said none of that stuff ever happened. That's all made up and fabricated.
Yeah, no, there's some some conversation that came out after MJ had passed that people never told any of these stories. Though I'm like, man, that kind of makes sense. So, but yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave things at now. So
yeah, we didn't even get to Meg Thee Stallion, but we'll end it there.
Oh man, damn. Yeah. All right. So I think Sunday night's gonna kind of be the night for a couple times, but we're gonna try to do some things differently as usual. So last words, MC.
Yeah, we won't be here next week, but we'll be back the following week, and we still cooking on some things in the future too. So bear with us.
All right, everyone. Talk to you later.
Peace.